No one could calm the billionaire's daughter. Not the expensive therapists. Not the private tutors. Not the security team. Not even her own father. Every person who tried eventually gave up. People called her impossible, difficult, and broken. But they never asked why she had built such high walls around her heart. Then one quiet morning, a gray-haired school janitor walked into her life carrying nothing more than a mop, a gentle smile, and a secret no one could have imagined. What happened next would change both of their lives forever. Sometimes the strongest heroes don't wear expensive suits or shiny medals. Sometimes they wear worn-out work boots and push a cleaning cart down silent hallways. Stay with me, because this story proves that one simple act of kindness can succeed where money, power, and fear always fail. Before we begin, welcome to the Kindness Hub, where every story reminds us that kindness can change lives. If you enjoy heartwarming stories with powerful life lessons, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Now let's begin today's unforgettable story. Emma Harrison was only 10 years old, but everyone in New York knew her name. She was the only daughter of billionaire businessman Richard Harrison. After her mother's sudden death 3 years earlier, Emma had stopped speaking to almost everyone. She rarely smiled. She refused to attend classes, threw away expensive gifts, and chased away every nanny her father hired. Richard loved his daughter more than anything, but he had buried himself in work, believing that money could solve every problem. He built her a dream bedroom, bought every toy imaginable, and hired the world's best child experts. Nothing worked. One Monday morning, Emma arrived at her private academy with the same angry expression she wore every day. As she walked through the hallway, she deliberately knocked over a trash can. Teachers sighed. They expected another difficult day. Before anyone could react, the elderly janitor quietly picked up the trash without saying a single harsh word. Emma stared at him. "Why aren't you yelling at me?" she asked. The old man smiled. "Because someone who is hurting doesn't need another person yelling." His answer surprised her. The janitor's name was Daniel Brooks. Everyone thought he was just another retired man trying to earn a little extra money. No one knew that decades earlier, Daniel had served as a Navy SEAL, completing dangerous rescue missions around the world. After leaving the military, he chose a quiet life, never speaking about his past. The next day Emma tested him again. She poured paint across the freshly cleaned floor. Teachers rushed toward her, expecting Daniel to lose his temper. Instead, he simply laughed softly. "Looks like we'll need another mop," he said. Emma frowned. "Don't you get mad?" "Getting angry is easy," Daniel replied. "Understanding someone takes courage." For the first time in years, Emma didn't know what to say. Every morning after that, she found excuses to cross Daniel's path. Sometimes she watched him clean. Sometimes she asked strange questions. "Did anyone ever leave you?" "Yes." "Did it hurt?" "More than I can explain." "So why do you still smile?" "Because someone once showed me kindness when I thought I didn't deserve it." Little by little, Emma's walls began to crack. One rainy afternoon, Daniel found her sitting alone in the library. "I miss my mom," she whispered through tears. Daniel sat beside her without speaking. After several quiet moments, he finally said, "Missing someone doesn't mean they're gone from your heart. Love doesn't disappear." Emma cried harder than she had in years. That evening, the school principal called Richard Harrison. "I don't know what your janitor is doing," she said, "but your daughter smiled today." Richard was shocked. The next morning, he arrived early and secretly watched Daniel and Emma talking in the garden. For the first time since his wife's funeral, he saw genuine happiness on his daughter's face. Richard approached Daniel after school. "What exactly are you doing?" Daniel answered honestly. "I'm listening." Richard lowered his eyes. "I've spent millions trying to help her. Daniel nodded gently. Children rarely need millions. They usually need someone who makes them feel safe. Those words hit Richard harder than any business failure. He realized he had spent years building an empire while his lonely daughter quietly mourned the loss of her mother. Determined to change, Richard began leaving the office earlier every evening. Instead of business meetings, he ate dinner with Emma. Instead of buying gifts, he listened to her stories. Slowly, father and daughter began rebuilding their relationship. Then something unexpected happened. One afternoon, a fire broke out in the school's science building after faulty electrical wiring sparked a blaze. Smoke spread rapidly through the hallways. Children panicked. Teachers shouted directions. Emma became trapped inside an art classroom when part of the ceiling collapsed. Without hesitation, Daniel ran toward the smoke. Years of military training returned instantly. He stayed low, covered his face, and carefully navigated through the burning hallway. He found Emma hiding beneath a table, terrified. "It's okay," he said calmly. "I've got you." He wrapped his jacket around her, lifted her into his arms, and carried her safely outside moments before firefighters reached the room. News cameras captured everything. Within hours, reporters discovered Daniel's hidden past as a decorated Navy SEAL who had once rescued hostages overseas. The country praised him as a hero. But when reporters asked him why he had risked his life again after retirement, his answer touched millions. "I wasn't saving a billionaire's daughter," he said. "I was saving a little girl who deserved to know someone would always come for her." His words spread across television and social media, inspiring people everywhere. A few weeks later, Richard invited Daniel to dinner. After the meal, Emma handed Daniel a small handmade card. On the front she had written, "Thank you for believing in me before I believed in myself." Daniel smiled with tears in his eyes. Richard quietly offered him a large check. Daniel pushed it back across the table. "I don't need your money." "Then what can I give you?" Richard asked. Daniel looked at Emma. "Promise me you'll keep giving her your time. That's worth more than anything you can buy." Richard nodded. "I promise." Years later, Emma grew into a confident young woman who started a foundation providing free counseling and mentorship for children who had lost a parent. Every news center displayed one simple sentence on the wall. "Kindness begins when someone chooses to understand instead of judge." Daniel never wanted fame. He never asked for recognition. Yet his greatest mission wasn't completed on a battlefield. It happened with a mop in one hand and compassion in the other. And maybe that's the lesson we all need today. We never truly know what battle another person is fighting inside. A patient word, a listening ear, or a simple act of kindness might become the turning point in someone's life. So wherever you go today, choose kindness first. You may never know how deeply your compassion changes another heart. And if this story touched you, remember to share it with someone who needs hope, because kindness always grows when we pass it on.